Right now, there's hope this morning that Victoria has reached the peak of its second wave after reporting a record 532 cases and 6 deaths. This morning, all eyes are on a cluster at Melbourne's Royal Children's Hospital, where a newborn has tested positive. This coming as the state's aged care system buckles under the pressure, with the heartbroken families demanding answers. Defiance from demonstrators in Sydney, organisers of a Black Lives Matter protest saying their gathering will go ahead, while a Sydney-sider has found himself behind bars after allegedly attempting to breach the border.
First now to that shocking cluster growing at the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne, where a baby is the latest to catch the virus. Today, Melbourne reporter Christina Hearn leads our coverage today. And Chris, have we heard from the hospital yet?
Ali, a hospital spokesperson told me they don't have a condition update yet, but they are working on getting us one later this morning. But we already know that this tiny baby, believed to be less than 3 weeks old, is already very sick because they are in the neonatal intensive care unit here at the Children's, and now they have contracted COVID-19. How this has happened, it's understood that a parent of another child has visited the ward. They were not symptomatic at the time, but they have since tested positive. Now, another parent and also staff member here at the Children's have tested positive, so the cluster stands at 4. Here is an emergency doctor at the Royal Melbourne Hospital.
It is extremely concerning, but for us over the last couple of weeks, we've been very confronted by the number of young, very sick people that we're seeing with COVID and the increasing numbers of those.
Our numbers are grim. 532 new cases yesterday. That's a record, and 6 more deaths. But we did have a glimmer of hope, and that is our Chief Health Officer here in Victoria saying modelling shows that we may have reached our peak. Only time will tell. Despite all of this, anti-maskers are continuing their crusade. More videos are popping up online with them demanding the right not to wear a mask in stores like Bunnings, and late last night, Bunnings did release a statement from the managing director. In part, it reads, "To those who are claiming we have backed down from enforcing these rules and apologised, let me be clear, we haven't and won't." Ali?
Those anti-maskers, they're real heroes, aren't they? Thanks, Chris. A relative of a resident at one of Victoria's worst-hit nursing homes has accused St Basil's of neglect, claiming the way her mother has been treated is inhumane.
I'm upset, I'm disgusted, I'm disappointed with the way the government's handled St Basil's. I'm fearful for everyone that's left in there. I feel guilty because I got mum out and there are so many people still left in there. I'm really scared. I'm not overreacting. I'm jumping on a bandwagon. It's a real concern.
It's hard to watch, isn't it? There are nearly 700 active cases linked to the Victorian aged care system.
We're just hours away from a Black Lives Matter protest in Sydney, with Premier Gladys Berejiklian appealing to demonstrators to find another way to express their views. Today's Sydney reporter Gabrielle Boyle joins us now from the Domain. Gabby, we've just heard from one of the event organisers.
We have, Carl, and event organisers say if we're allowed to go to shopping centres and football games, we should be allowed to peacefully protest in the street. This comes despite the fact that the Supreme Court has twice ordered these protesters not to take to the streets for fear that it could spread COVID-19. New South Wales Police say they will be implementing the full force of the law and issuing fines to people found and seen doing the wrong thing. They are due to meet here at the Domain in the centre of Sydney at midday today. It is pretty awful weather out here. Not the best conditions for rallying. We've also heard news this morning that 3 restaurants in Sydney have been shut down due to COVID-19 outbreaks. One at Potts Point, the Apollo restaurant, which is just a few hundred metres up the road from the Thai Rock restaurant, which of course we know yesterday was shut down after a staff member tested positive. Those 2 other locations at Mount Pritchard, where restaurants have been shut down. Despite all of this, those protesters say they will be rallying here from lunchtime today. Carl?
Hundreds of southerners have been turned away from Queensland since the borders reopened as police grow frustrated with the minority doing the wrong thing. Today, Queensland reporter Jessica Millward is, where else? At the border in Coolangatta. Jess, good morning. How are lines looking there this morning?
Yeah, it's just my usual, isn't it, Alex? Look, not too bad, I have to say. We'll give you a live look at the traffic here at the Griffith Street border crossing at the moment. It is steady. We have seen quite a bit of traffic coming around that bend there, but they are getting through quite quickly, and that is an improvement on yesterday. So it does look like that the update to the border pass, that message is filtering through, because of course it was a little bit of chaos around the border yesterday. I've had one school mum contact me saying kids didn't arrive to school on the bus until 10:30. That's how bad the traffic was with the changeover and the adding of Fairfield as a hotspot. Our police are so busy at border checkpoints, and this is what they've had to be subjected to. This man landed on a flight from Sydney, as is protocol. Those passengers were being screened, but he took off. He took off across the Gold Coast Highway. He broke into someone else's place to get a spare change of clothes. He thought he was in disguise, but some eagle-eyed tradies and a lollipop lady actually spotted him, pointed him out to police, and he was taken into custody. Alex, I have spoken to police just in the past few minutes to ask if he has been charged. They say not yet, but he will be today, and then he'll be sent back to New South Wales. Signing off from the border for now.
Jess, Border Patrol, thank you.
Well, heavy rain, damaging winds and high tides have left a trail of destruction on the New South Wales south coast, forcing residents to evacuate their homes while thousands are still without power. Nine's James Wilson is at Sanctuary Point, south of Sydney, one of the worst hit areas. James, how much damage?
Well, Ali, some are more damaged than others. I want to take you to a situation. They're just starting to fold. A tradie TJ, whose ute is just up the road here, just tried to drive through the flood water behind me, and he wants to let his boss know that he'll be running very late for work. His car had to be towed out and he's going nowhere fast. Further up this road, though, Ali, there is significant flood damage to a number of homes. We spoke with homeowner Greg, who watched as the water rose and rose and rose yesterday afternoon. They had to escape up to higher ground. Take a listen to what he had to say.
The water was only about halfway up the banks here. We thought, no, we're okay, but then 10 minutes later it was in the backyard. So it just rose that fast and that quick. Yeah, it was quite frightening.
Ali, you can see behind me, it's still very much an active situation down here. We've actually watched the water rise by the minute. The creek is expected to peak again at 2 p.m. this afternoon, so it will be another very anxious wait for residents in the Sanctuary Point area.
All right, James, I'm just going to see, I think we've got a shot of you doing your news cross last night. No, don't worry. No, I'm saving it for 8:30. You're going to come back on the show in half an hour. We've got a little treat for everyone.
One of the best ever.
2 words.
Oh, goodness.
Drowned rat. It's very good television, folks. Stick around for it. But let's check your sport first, though. And details are emerging of an AFL meeting with club CEOs about the careless actions of players' partners while staying in the hubs. Have a listen to Caroline Wilson on Footy Classified, who had a stern message for the Wags.
You're doing a lot more now than we can do in Victoria. It is a privilege that you are there and not a right. Some partners are even upset because the AFL has told them they can't go to the footy, not understanding the hugely logistical problems that this could cause for the AFL.
Wow. Caroline, not happy. Geelong got their first win last night in the WA hub, beating the Dockers by 32 points in what, as you can see right there, torrential rain. Let's get some more weather with Tim. G'day, Tim.
Alex, good morning. There it is, the famous boardwalk here along Laguna Beach in Noosa this morning, and Hastings Street, the famous Hastings Street, full of cafes, restaurants, shops, sits just behind that. So lots of people out this morning stretching their legs and soaking up some of this beautiful Queensland sunshine. Let's see if the sun is shining at your house today. Cairns, you can expect some sunshine. Fine top of 28 degrees ahead today. Brisbane will be mostly sunny, 22. Sydney, a few showers around today. 18 degrees is going to be the high. A few showers around for Canberra as well today. Melbourne, Hobart, Adelaide and Perth, you are all looking a little cloudy on this Tuesday. Mostly fine for the Alice today and sunny as well for Darwin, a top of 32 degrees. Well, there are a few icons around this town, and let me tell you, this man right here is one of them. Tom Wegner, good morning from Noosa Longboards. Great to have you down here on the beach with us. I've pulled you out of the waves and onto the sand. Tell us a little bit about your famous longboards.
Oh, well, at Noosa Longboards, we make these guys. We make all sorts of boards at Noosa Longboards. And what we specialize in, actually, is the wood surfboards, the Polonia wood surfboards. And we have the versions of them right here. And the Polonia wood, we started using it here. We're the first people in the world to make surfboards from it. and it doesn't absorb salt water. It's plantation grown. It's light, easy to use. Feel how light that is.
Yeah.
So these are the belly boards that we make, and
how innovative. Okay.
Oh.
And the likes of Kelly Slater, some of the world surfing champs, they're all into your boards. They like these things.
Well, Kelly Slater's company, Firewire, uses the Polonia, has taken the same ideas using the same wood Polonia.
Yeah.
And of course, Tom Carroll and Tom Curran ride these boards.
How good. This one, very special.
Well, this is a special board. This is 100 years old.
My goodness.
It's from the UK. And believe it or not, well over 100 years ago, surfing was incredibly popular around the world. And when they were in the trenches, I've heard lots of stories of the fighters in World War I. They're dreaming about what they're going to do when they go home. What are you fighting for?
Yeah.
And they come home and they went surfing, and surfing blew up after World War I.
It is a dream come true here, isn't it? Just absolutely beautiful. Around a 300% increase in surfing, guys, would you believe, with this whole COVID situation? Why? Because it's so good to self-isolate?
Yep.
And what else?
Well,
Enjoy
it's
life.
fun. Enjoy life. Enjoy life to the fullest while you are surfing.